Vera Renczi, dubbed the Black Widow or Chatelaine of Burkirkul, was a possibly fictional Romanian serial killer who allegedly confessed to poisoning 35 individuals including her 2 husbands, multiple lovers, and her son with arsenic during the 1920s. The earliest report published by Otto Tulishkas in the United States was in May 1925. The article is based on letters from the readers without naming any reference. Renczi's story has surfaced repeatedly, but without traceable details such as specific dates of her birth, marriages, arrest, conviction, incarceration or death. Most sources place the murders at Burkirkul, Yugoslavia, present-day Serbia, or Bekeric, which changed the name to Zrenjanin in 1946, although the spelling Burkirkul is unknown for this city. In 1972, the Guinness Book of World Records found no authoritative sources to support the claim that 35 people were killed by Renczi in early 20th century Austro-Hungarian Empire. Early life. According to some accounts, Renczi was born in Bucharest in 1903, but in view of the dates of her alleged crimes, a date in the late 19th century would be more appropriate. The accounts of her life are lacking in verifiable documentary supporting evidence. Her mother died when she was 13 and she moved with her father to Bekeric Mayor, today's Zrenjanin, Vojvodina, northern Yugoslavia, where she attended a boarding school. By the age of 15, she had become increasingly unmanageable and had frequently run away from home with numerous boyfriends, many of whom were significantly older than she was. Early childhood friends described Renczi as having an almost pathological desire for constant male companionship and possessing a highly jealous and suspicious nature. Shortly before the age of 20, her first marriage was to a wealthy Austrian banker named Karl Schick, many years her senior. They had a son named Lorenzo. Left at home daily while her older husband worked, she began to suspect that her husband was being unfaithful. One evening, in a jealous rage, Renczi poisoned his dinner wine with arsenic and began to tell family, friends, and neighbors that he had abandoned her and their son. After approximately a year of mourning, she then declared that she had heard word of her supposedly estranged husband's death in a car accident. Subsequent murders. Shortly after allegedly hearing the news of her first husband's automobile accident, Renczi remarried, this time to a man nearer her own age. However, the relationship was a tumultuous one and Renczi was again plagued by the suspicion that her new husband was involved in extramarital affairs. After only months of marriage, the man vanished and Renczi then told friends and family that he had abandoned her. After a year had passed, she then claimed to have received a letter from her husband proclaiming his intentions of leaving her forever. This would be her last marriage. Although Renczi did not remarry, she spent the next several years carrying out a number of affairs, some clandestine with married men, and others openly. The men came from an array of backgrounds and social positions. All would vanish within months, weeks, and in some cases, even days after becoming romantically involved with her. When connected to men she was openly having an affair with, she would invariably concoct stories of them being unfaithful and having abandoned her. After the wife of one of Renczi's lovers followed him to Renczi's residence one evening and the man subsequently never returned home, the police were called to investigate his disappearance. Upon searching Renczi's wine cellar, they discovered 32 unburied, zinc-lined coffins. Each contained a male corpse in varying stages of decomposition. Renczi was arrested and taken into police custody where she confessed to having poisoned the 32 men with arsenic when she suspected they had been unfaithful to her or when she believed their interest in her was waning. She also confessed to the police that on occasion she liked to sit in her armchair amidst the coffins, surrounded by all of her former suitors. Renczi also confessed to murdering her 2 husbands and her son Lorenzo. She told police that one day when her son had come come to pay her a visit, he had accidentally discovered the coffins in her wine cellar and threatened to blackmail her, and she subsequently poisoned him and disposed of his body. She also feared he would soon leave her to marry someone, so she held him in her arms as he lay dying so she would be the last person to hug him. She was convicted of 35 murders and sentenced to life imprisonment, where she subsequently died. Some have speculated that Renczi's story may have inspired Joseph Kesselring's play Arsenic and Old Lace, yet this is incorrect. It was the Amy Archer Gilligan case which the playwright used as his model. In 2005, the Discovery Channel's three-part series Deadly Women recounted the history of Renczi, portrayed through reenactments and commentaries from FBI agents and criminal profiler Candice DeLong and a forensic pathologist. Renczi was featured in the series' first episode titled Obsession, where she is described as having killed her victims in the 1930s in Bucharest, Romania. As for her motivation, the voiceover says that modern analysis suggests she was simply looking for love. On the 17th of March 2012, a depiction of Renczi appeared in the Daily Mirror, but it was proved to be a misidentified 2004 photograph, and an apology was printed. It is worth noting that all reporting of the Renczi case can be traced back to a single source in U.S. magazines published in the period, and despite extensive researches in the region where the case was said to have taken place, no original, local source material has been found to date. For that matter, no evidence has been found that support the existence of Renczi or her conviction. It is possible that such records were lost in the political turmoil in the area in the intervening years, or may have been a work of fiction. See also Bela Kiss list of serial killers by number of victims. References. Further reading: Jones, Richard Glenn. The Mammoth Book of Women Who Kill. Transition Vendor. 2002. ISBN 0-7867-0953-7. Tulicious, Oada. The woman held for killing 35 persons slew lovers and preserved bodies in cans in her cellar. Syndicated, Universal Service, The B. Danville, Va. May 22, 1925, p. 6. The name is given as Madame Renczi in this article. A Real Female Bluebeard. Strange Tragedy of the Jealous Beauty and Her 35 Unlucky Sweethearts. American Weekly, San Antonio Light Sunday Magazine section, August 22, 1925, p. 5. Jean Lavinia Anais Valeriana, better known by her artist name The Ravenous Maid. Renczi, the subject of one of her most popular poems to date, taken from her 2006 book Lavinia, Volume 1, ISBN 9781502313966. The poem is entitled A Coffin for a Bed, referring to Vera's method for murder. Prior to the book's release in 2003, the poem was previously featured on her debut poetry extended play self-titled The Ravenous. External links: Frances Farmer's Revenge. Types of female serial killers.